All right, hey there, Alex here, and wanted to talk today about goals. It's something that has always been, it's always kind of eluded me a bit, to be honest with you. It's always been a kind of a confusing situation with goals and goal setting. I've always had a variety of people around me, both like online as, kind of like mentors, through videos and courses and coaching and things like this, and also just people around me, you know what I mean? And also sort of like more on the spiritual side, like books like The Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda and things like this, where they're talking in a more metaphysical level. And so goals are a bit interesting, and I just kind of want to go through the topic a bit. If you're loving these videos, man, subscribe, please, like down below, like the video, and feel free to leave any thoughts you have or questions you have in the comments. So let's just dive into it. I think... Yeah, so goals have been always really interesting for me. When I was a kid, or like younger, I didn't really set goals. I mean, I had like somewhat of a vision of kind of what I was trying to achieve, you know what I mean? Like I had like a vision of like what I guess success would look like to me in that context, whether it was like music or, business or freelancing or something like this, or whether it was, love or spirituality, whatever it was. I kind of had like an idea in my head, kind of what I wanted to look like or what I wanted to feel like, but, it wasn't really like a goal. Like it wasn't like a monetary goal. It wasn't like a money thing. There wasn't like a real like clear goal in there. I read The Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda, the first book. I read it, I think I was in high school, and I dropped out of high school junior year, so I think it was like in my sophomore year. Maybe I was like 16, 17 when I read that book. And it really impacted me, man, because, part of the book, they're talking about the process, the process of things, and not getting caught up in goals, just building the process and just doing, constantly doing. And that's the way to achieve like the natural, like what's natural for you. Excuse me. And I'm sort of, it doesn't actually say that literally in the book, but that's kind of how I took it at the time, and that's how I kind of, excuse me, was operating. Was just working on the craft constantly and not having like this monetary or grandiose kind of goal in my mind of like, this is what I want to achieve with this. It was more just like, I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm just going to do it consistently, and things are going to attract to me. And like, some of them may be good and maybe lead to success in some sense, and then some of them may be bad and could be distractions, could be failure, could be a learning process that I have to go through, or a trial or a test or something like this. But just sticking true to the process, you're going to just kind of like attract things. And I did that for a long time. Like really, that really was my modus operandi, my MO for a long time, really, until fairly recently. So I was doing that. I didn't think about goals. I just had some vision, some dream, some kind of idea of what I wanted to achieve with it, or what I wanted to feel when I was doing it. And I just did it, and I just did it, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And I didn't have any kind of like goal in front of me. What's the next goal? It was just just do stuff, you know what I mean? And so for me, like in music, a lot of that was just making music, number one, reading about music, learning more about music theory, learning about alternative music theory, learning about Indian music theory, and ragas, and just all kinds of stuff, jazz. I was just studying and listening to music and deep listening and trying to be the best I could at the music, and then creating the music, and trying to meet people that were also making music in a spirit that I was trying to, and recording the music, listening back to the music, packaging up the music, releasing the music, creating record labels, sending cold emails to distribution companies I looked up to, sending cold emails to artists that I looked up to, trying to jump on shows that were already happening, and adding myself to the lineup, and adding my bands or my groups to the lineups, and cold emailing, making music, just all these things, taking action every day with no real end goal in mind, right? And I can say that for the goal or the vision that I had at the time of that, because I was really not that heavy on money. I really didn't care about money at the time. I was young and pretty stupid, I'd say, and ignorant. So I was really just wanting to share the stage with people that I respected and be respected in a music community, and create things I thought were relevant, and just to have enough money to survive, right? Which, looking back, anyway, so I was doing that, and I achieved those things. So one cold email I sent one day led to me jumping on a show, led to one of my favorite artists, seeing me play, being extremely impressed, taking my number down, taking my email, communicating with me ongoing for months and months, and then he got a bunch of touring opportunities and wanted to hire me sort of as part of the band and take me in and split the profits with me, and we did that. So I toured the world. I played with some of the artists that I looked up to the most, and got to experience all those things. And so very blessed for that. And so I guess I did sort of achieve, that vision that I had in my head when it came down to the music, and that was just through running the process. Now, the problem I had, though, with that was money. Money wasn't really a huge part of that vision. And so I ended up in a position where I had my back against the wall. I didn't have much money. I was freelancing a lot, and thankfully attracting clients. Thankfully had my cold emails, going down, and doing that fairly well. Thankfully had a network of people that knew I did websites and referred me some customers and things like this. But it wasn't easy, and I was definitely not comfortable money wise. So then I met the love of my life, who's now my wife. Again, that was a bit of a trial and error, no real goal, but sort of a vision in mind also. I knew I wanted to be with somebody who was a nerd like me, and I knew I wanted to be with somebody who was humble and talented, and that we were into similar things. I really didn't want to be with people for their looks or anything, or their status. I wanted to be with somebody that I truly respected and loved. And so apparently I attracted this woman to me, and we ended up getting married, and it was beautiful. Again, an example of not really having a clear goal in mind there, but just kind of an overall vision. But when we got married, money became a big issue, right? Money became, when you have a family, it's way different than just being alone. So I was living in a shared house and stuff. I was paying very little in rent and things for, and then I needed to get my own place with my wife, and things needed to change, and so money became an issue. And at that point, I started to set some goals. I read that book, and just a little bit later down the line. I was still kind of just hustling at the time, with no real vision. I was just trying to find what would work for me, doing web design, doing sales, and doing some stuff, but it wasn't really like panning out the way I wanted at the time. And I hit a point where I kind of I read that book, Think and Grow Rich, and I read a lot of opinions about that book. Some people say it's fake, and the guy was actually, I don't know, whatever. He was a grifter or a fraudster or whatever, and a scammer. I don't really know, but I read that book, and he was like, you need to write down your goals. You need to have clear goals. You need to have a clear vision of what you want, and you need to have all that stuff needs to be super clear in your mind. And you need to do kind of like mantras, or what do they call it? Affirmations. You need to look at that piece of paper every day with your goals on it, and you need to go, yep, I'm going to by this date, I'm going to have this. Or do this, or feel this, or whatever it is. And I took it really seriously, and I started doing it. And I gotta say, I didn't do it religiously. I wrote down the thing on the piece of paper. I put that by my bed. I did look at it from time to time and stuff like that. But mainly, I did just kind of keep grinding. You know what I mean? And keep to the process, and kept learning, and kept investing in myself. At that point, I had some cash flow. I was buying a coaching program, buying a course, trying to help myself, reading a lot, reading books, trying to, master the stuff. And the goal I wrote down, I achieved, so that's cool. But again, I feel like it was so much about the process. So I guess to kind of get out of my own story, I wanted to kind of just talk about goals in the sense that it's always been confusing for me, because when I tend to set big goals for myself and I don't achieve them, I get kind of depressed. Also, I question where those goals came from. Like, did I actually want that goal? Was that goal a part of my vision of success, or is that goal something that was implanted in my brain, or I absorbed from somewhere else, like from some guru telling me that, like, oh, you need this amount of money to be able to do this, or you need this to invest in real estate, or you need that to be able to do this. I don't know, whatever it was, right? Wherever that number came from, is that my number, or you know what I mean? Or is that my situation, or is that like something that came from somewhere else? And I think that's where I started to go back to the Don Juan style of the thing and start to realize that no, goals are sort of like something that should, excuse me, should be something. It should be something clear, but it needs to be in line with your values, and it doesn't always need to be a monetary number, although monetary numbers, money numbers are always the easiest to track. If you need to make $30,000 next week, you know that you need to get about this many leads at this, with this closing rate to get that, and you shoot for goals and you shoot for stuff. And that's fine to do a little bit of math and have a vision of like what you need to be doing, but there's also an aspect of the thing where I think it needs to be kind of organic. Like, I think there's learning processes you need to go through that are not always the most linear thing. You know what I mean? It's not always the thing that's just going to be like, oh, like the math works out. It's just I need to reach out to 3,000 prospects. I need to get a 50% open rate. Then I need to get a 15% reply rate. And if I do that, I'm going to have enough clients that it doesn't always work like that. And maybe your offer's off. And maybe there's all kinds of little nuances to what you're trying to do. If you're selling a service or a product, for example. Or like with the music for me, it was a lot stranger goal. Like, oh, I want to tour the world. I want to meet people that I look up to. I want to be respected by them. And I want to be a player in the scene. I want to be a player in the world. I want to be part of history. Really, was really my thing. And what a strange goal, right? How do you write that down, and how do you calculate the math on that, right? And now that I'm a CMO in 2 companies right now, and it's like the way that I'm playing that role, and the way that I'm doing that role, I'm not really setting goals. We have like rough number goals where we'd love to hit this amount of MRR, or this amount of ARR, so that we know that we're like profitable and we're like everyone's getting paid. But it's more about how can we create influence and how can we be seen as thought leaders. You know what I mean? When it comes to this marketing stuff, especially. It's not a direct sales effort. It's about attracting the right people to the venture and to the situation, to the business. And so it's about finding people that are asking questions and answering those questions in a really in-depth way, or it's about creating content that resonates with our audience and makes them want to watch the rest of the content, or it's about identifying the people that don't yet have this problem, or don't know that they have this problem, and showing them that they have this problem, so then they can start to search for the solution, and we provide the solution. It's more organic than anything. It's about creating content. It's about knowing the market and answering the questions. That's not scalable. I can't outsource that. There's nobody doing that. I'm writing the content in many cases. But I know that it's going to have an impact on revenue. I know that it's going to get us to our revenue goals because it has compounding interest. It has compounding scalability to it. It has, the results will grow over time because that content is out there. It's being distributed. It's going to attract the right people in a repeatable way. And the more that we see a topic that resonates with people, where they're like interacting and engaging with that content more, that gives us more fuel to create more content. So we have rough revenue goals. Excuse me. We have rough revenue goals, but we're not, we're not trying to reverse engineer the funnel to a hard extent where we're like, we need to reach out to this many people. We're more focused on creating impact and influence in an industry and speaking to people, giving them insights, giving them free information that leads them to want to work with us, that leads them to want to see what else we have to offer, that leads them to doing more research on the subject and eventually coming back to us because we're the ones that have got them on that path or whatever, staying top of mind with them. And so a lot of people will say, set hard goals and then go after those goals. And I guess what I'm saying is that that's never really worked that well for me. I mean, it works to an extent for me, but sometimes I don't feel like it's in line with my values and what I'm actually going for. I think having a vision of what you want to be doing every day, having a vision of like what you need to survive and knowing what that is, not just to survive, to thrive. How much money do you need? What resources do you need? I don't know, how many followers do you need? I don't really love that metric, but you know what I mean? Like, how much money do I need, and what do I need, and where do I need to be, and blah, 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 and see that vision and go after that, but like remain in the process. Like, never forget that the process will teach you, the process will push you forward. Excuse me. The process, everything is in the process. Like the enlightenment, the goal itself is in the process somewhere. And so I guess my actionable advice on this is that I don't really have any. It's going to be different for every person. I think some people need to set really hard goals and go after those and reverse engineer those. Some people need to be a little more organic and metaphysical with it, where they're just like, I just want to get lost in the process and learn as much as possible so that like eventually I just attract that overall vision I have. And when I achieve that, I have another vision and it just keeps going. So it depends. You need to again explore kind of like your goals and your success, what you value as success, and your values in general. Confirm that those aren't someone else's values that have been implanted in you. By the way, it's easy to watch gurus and watch a million Grant Cardone videos or something, and then feel like, oh, I need to have a jet, whatever, right? Like whatever it is for you, or whoever that guru is for you. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to do that, and it's easy to fall out of your own values and forget that you have your own values. It's easy for parents to tell you things like, you're not doing the right thing. Why are you doing that? You should be doing this. You need to establish all that shit for yourself and unlearn as much as you can about like what other people have implanted in you, and find your true values and what you truly value as success. And then, and only then, once you have that in your mind, then that process is just going to propel you forward, because you're going to know what you need to do to achieve at least that next step in the journey, right? Like, and it's going to happen just through the organic process. You're going to attract the things that are going to work for you, and you're going to reach out, and things are going to come back to you. And then soon you're not going to have to reach out as much. Things are just going to be coming in. So yeah, I think again, it's actionable advice. Figure out your true values and your true success, vision of success, and what you want to be doing every day. And get lost in the process. Really do something you love, do something that you're passionate about, do something that you truly love that will propel you closer to that vision. And figure out what that is for you. And just, I'm still figuring out what it is for me. I'm definitely like leaning more towards how I used to behave rather than the Think and Grow Rich model, where it's like hard numbers and hard success and hard goals. I find that this kind of like, the clearer the vision, the quicker and more fluidly you achieve the vision. But having that vision in the first place is the beginning, and then just getting lost in the process and just doing things every day. And you'll see that a lot of my content on a lot of this channel is just about doing. It's about taking action and making it simple, oversimplifying things on purpose, not getting lost in the details yet, until you need to, until it's time to kind of get deeper into the data, deeper into the tracking and the attribution and the whatever it is for you at that point, right? But in the beginning, if you want to be a thought leader and you want to have respect, you should start writing, and you should start making content, making videos, not really worrying about what it's about or whatever, just about what you find interesting or whatever you find the market is asking out there. Quora, Reddit, all these places are great resources to find those questions and those things within your space. And then taking it a next step further, if you really need money, you may want to focus on sales efforts hardcore right now, and you may want to reverse engineer the funnel a little bit, but you may just want to take consistent action and just reach out to a certain number of people every single day and try to make a sale, right? And try to hone your offer in and work on your offer and figure out how you can get people in the door, so then you can upsell them on bigger, or see how you can make the bigger things so desirable that you're able to get the right people in the funnel, so that you can close more of those big deals and then eventually trickle down. If you want to be supported and feel like you're not alone in this journey and like have a support network so you can move forward, you may want to join a community or start a community. So there's all kinds of things you can do today, you know what I mean, that'll take you 5 minutes in this modern era that we're in, where you can just take action and make some shit happen for yourself. And it may not be the right shit right away, but once you've seen the wrong shit, you'll start to know what the right shit looks like. So again, guys, get lost in the process is really my biggest thing, and focus on the process more than the end goals. Have a clear vision, but execute every day, okay? All right, I hope this was helpful. If it was, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If you disagree, agree with me. If you have some insights you want to share, please leave it in the comments, and I'll answer every comment. I'd love to jump into a discussion with you guys. And if you want to have more of these kinds of discussions, and you want to ask some hard questions and get some feedback from different people, Cold Crowd Telegram group is definitely open for business. And join. We have at the moment over 300 like-minded people that are constantly getting feedback on their stuff and asking questions like this. And get in the conversation. All right, so links all below. Links for everything is below. And again, leave a comment, please, and let me know what you think.